And that's why they decided to come out to Canada and try and work it and make it so that their family had something as the families aged and moved on. But having a sugar bush and having this sugar was one of those things that made it so that you could trade the sugar, you could enjoy it for a long time to come, and it would be something that basically your whole family would enjoy together. Now that's not to say that we didn't also just make the maple.
And the more you boil it, the darker it's gonna get. That's where you get your dark and very dark grades.
And which ones are the best? I guess it depends on your taste.
Yeah, there's no like best one. It's just whatever you.
And which one is the strongest?
Like the more. What can we use to identify a maple tree? Leaves, yeah. So we can use the leaves. We can also look at the branch system. So maple trees have an opposite branch system. Maples are like this. Trees double trees work differently. Other trees have a alternate branch system for left or right. Okay, another way I can find the parts of that tree is drawing close to us. That's a maple tree. It's very strong close to each branches. Once I identify my tree, I then make sure that it's wide enough around. I think at least 80 centimeters around. And I'm talking southward, not to the hardwood. Now use plastic one. And the sap, when I first collect it, it is 97% water and only 3% sugar, so that yellow orange mark up there, that's my sugar.
Finding artifacts like these logs, we figured out what this is called. So they would go into the forest and they would gather up some sap. And if you think about this time of year, in winter, a lot of the reserves of fresh food would be turning to renewable. So sap would be a welcome treat of fresh produce. And they would drink a lot. This is great. But if they wanted to make sugars, they would have to get rid of all of that water.
But they would be put right to work. So it would be the kids' job to actually go around all of the buckets and bring back all of that sap. And they would bring it back and they would put it in my first sort of kettle here. Now, can you guys tell me what that looks like right now? Yeah. So that looks like water, right? And that's because when the sap is coming out of the tree, it's 97% water. So it's only 2 to 3% sugar. And that's why we have to boil it for so long, is to evaporate that water out so that we're left with a concentrated liquid that has a lot of sugars in it. So it's going to spend about 8 hours in my first kettle here, until I move into my next kettle over here, right at the top. That's starting to get a little bit of color to it. Random stuff. So it's starting to get a bit of color to it, just a little touch of yellow. And it's going to stay in that kettle for another 8 hours. And then I'm going to move it over to my final kettle, and this is what I call my finishing kettle. And that can be a bit smaller because it's spent 8 hours in that, 8 hours in that, and basically it's lost a lot of that liquid. So by the time it reaches this kettle, there's just a lot less of it. And you can see here, this is really starting to concentrate those sugars. So it's a lot darker now, but it's going to spend about another 8 hours in this kettle here. So you would end up with this nice block of pure maple sugar. Now this block is hard, not exactly something you'd want to just bite into. Than your maple syrup ever would. So this was the best for having it.
Did you see any buckets? One bucket. That's just our demonstration bucket. Like, were the buckets all over the hills out here? No. Oh, what did we have instead? Tubes. Yeah, we have plastic tubes that we have coming out of the trees and going into the big pipeline here. But it's not an oil pipeline, it's a sugar pipeline. And it's the sugar superhighway that comes into our storage tank here. This holds 1,200 liters. We also have an overflow tank outside the building that holds 1,500 liters. But let's represent 30 liters of syrup. So all of that boils down to this. And that's why maple syrup is so expensive in the grocery store. So it's still a lot of work to make it. Now, the settlers always say we're lazy here in the modern sugar shack. We're not lazy, we're just smart and efficient. So we're not sending our small children running up and down the hills to gather the sap. We're using gravity to bring it here. So it's zooming.
What can we use to identify a maple tree? Leaves, yeah. So we can use the leaves. We can also look at the branch system. So maple trees have an opposite branch system.